From Kern Government Television, welcome to this week's Kern County Board of Supervisors meeting, originating from the County Administrative Center located at 1115 Truxtun Avenue, Bakersfield, California. Kern County's vision is to create and maintain a customer-centered county government designed to garner the confidence, support, and trust of the people we serve. Today's Kern County Board of Supervisors meeting will convene momentarily.
The board will reconvene. Madam Clerk. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll? Sorry.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Supervisor Gleason.
He's here.
Supervisor Scribner.
Here.
Supervisor Maggard.
Here.
Supervisor Couch.
Here.
Supervisor Perez.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the 2 p.m. session of the Kern County Board of Supervisors. Excuse me. I'm going to read something that, a report out of closed session, then we'll go to Mr. Nations. There he is in the corner, and he'll read some more things that came out of closed session. So I'm going to let you know today that today in closed session, the board accepted the resignation of our Director of Airports, Richard Strickland, effective April 30. We thank him for his service and wish him well in future endeavors. The board has directed the CAO to begin a recruitment for a new Director of Airports. During this transition and effective today, the CEO's office will be working directly with airports staff to manage operations and ongoing projects at Meadows Field and other county airports until the board appoints a new director. Mr. Nations, do you have anything else to report out of closed session?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. The board did meet in closed session on items 49 and 50 with respect to the fire chief and his performance evaluation, as well as on items 51 and 52. And there were no reportable actions taken in any of those closed sessions.
Thank you, Mr. Nations. We offer an opportunity at every meeting for members of the public to discuss with us any matters that are not otherwise. Oh, consent. I missed consent. Sorry. I'm not going to do it backwards, but just reverse everything I just said. We have consent items on our agenda this afternoon. Consent items are considered to be routine by staff, and they're generally taken in one vote. If there are items on the consent calendar that members of the public would like to comment about, they can make comment about them in just a moment when I ask if you'd like to make comment. And if a member of the board wishes to pull an item for separate consideration, that board member may do so, and then we will hear that item as it comes up in the agenda. So let me go first through what the consent items are, beginning on page 2 of your afternoon agenda. They are items 3 through 6. On page 3, all the items 7 through 11. On page 4, all the items 12 through 17. On page 5, items 18 and 19, and then items 22 through 25. On page 6, item 26 is on consent. Item 27 is indicated to be on consent, but it has been pulled off the consent calendar by the department, and we're going to hear that when it comes up in its sequence. Then continuing, items 28 through 31 are on consent. On the next page, page 7, items 32 through 35, and then items 37 through 39 are on consent. And lastly, on page 8, items 40 through 44 are on consent. Do any members of the public wish to make comment to us this afternoon about any items that are on consent? I don't see anyone.
Mr. Chairman, if I may interrupt, I just received word from Craig Pope, our Director of Public Works, that item 18 requires a correction.
Okay.
So I'll read the item. Request to appropriate unanticipated revenue in the amount of $2,500,000 from the Metropolitan Universal Collection Area multifamily residential bin fees. Strike the word bin and insert the word service. Is that correct, Mr. Pope? Okay, so that will read residential service fees.
Very good. Thank you. Nobody from the public signaled they'd like to make comment about consent. Is there anybody on the board that would like to make comment, or is there a motion to approve the consent calendar?
Motion on consent with the adjustment on item 18 as articulated.
Thank you. Please cast your votes.
The motion is approved. All ayes.
Thank you. Now, we'll go to public comments, and if there are members of the public this afternoon that would like to make comment to the board about any item that is not otherwise on our agenda, we offer an opportunity for you to do that. Is anybody here this afternoon that would like to make comment about anything that is not on our agenda? Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon. We give 2 minutes to each member of the public that would like to do so. So would you like to first give us your name for the record, please?
Michelle Vallejos.
Good afternoon, Ms. Vallejo.
Hello.
Go ahead.
I'm wanting to bring an animal welfare issue to the board that I and a bunch of rescue and animal advocates have been working on in District 3. I'll try to give you a brief summary. A woman whose son passed away about 6 months ago has been caring for his dogs. It started with 10 pit bull, pit mix. 5 have killed each other. There are 5 left, which is still too many for her area where she lives. Animal control has been called, sheriff's, code enforcement. This woman is really concerned about surrendering her dogs and what's going to happen to them. 3 are in the front room, 2 locked in a cage all day, 2 are padlocked in a washroom in the back. She's about 79, 80 years old. She's had someone, we found out about this issue because a man who used to go feed the dogs, which is the reason nothing has happened, because they are being fed often enough, he reached out to rescues. He's reached out. The neighbors are concerned and made a phone call. Animal control's been out there. And the reason it's an issue is that animal control, there's nothing left to do. She's not committing a felony. Nick Colin, the director of Animal Care Services, has offered his help to her, called her, provided any assistance that we could possibly give. And us in the animal advocacy group who know about this are really, really concerned for the welfare of the dogs. It smells in there really bad. I heard from a neighbor that the woman who goes in there now to feed them wears a mask, and there's nothing that can be done. And we're bringing it to the attention of the board to maybe try to figure out a way to continue to move forward. As it gets warmer, it's going to be worse off for the dogs, and we don't want to see any more dogs die. And she does have rescue backing. I mean, there was someone from Orange County who was down here talking to her. One day she'll want to surrender the dogs. We'll go out there to pick them up, and the next day she says no. And it's turned into a semi-hoarding situation. It's a very emotional situation for her because they were her son's dogs, and we are understanding of that.
Yeah, this is a tragic circumstance. This lady's son passed away. The dogs belong to her son, and she's trying to care for the dogs, and it's just kind of cascading on her.
Yes.
So Mr. Cullen knows of the situation, that he's had people check the property out and the situation for the animals out. I don't know what the answer is. I thought at one point that you were going to come in to see me in my office, and we would ask Mr. Cullen to come, and we could kind of brainstorm around the table about what options
we're
are.
still working on that.
Yeah, so yeah. I'm happy to maybe that's the next step. We could facilitate a conversation like that and see if there are any other options.
Awesome.
If it requires some change in policy by the board, then that's a whole separate issue. That's a longer process that would go. But would you be willing then to meet with me in my office, and we'll ask Mr. Cullen to come in, and we'll see what we can do?
I'd be loving that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Vallejo. I appreciate you coming forward this afternoon. I appreciate your concern for these animals and this sensitivity to this poor lady who lost her son. Are there any other members of the public who would like to speak this afternoon about matters not on our agenda? I don't see someone, so we'll close that portion of the meeting and now move to board member announcements or reports. Colleagues? Okay, thank you. I'm going to exercise the chair's prerogative and move up item number 36. Item number 36 is an item that it's under the CEO's office, and Devin Brown is going to facilitate a presentation of our 2017 Employee Recognition Awards. And so as to not keep our fabulous employees waiting, I'm going to move this up on the agenda so they can be honored, and we can celebrate the success they've had, the great service they're giving our community, and then we'll proceed with the rest of our agenda. Mr. Brown.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, or good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. I'm really excited and proud to be here on behalf of our workforce at the county today to present to you our Employee Recognition Awards program for this past year, 2017. Imagine that your job was to help engineer the future of the community that you live in. In short, that is the work that our Kern County team does, impacting the lives of our family, friends, and neighbors every single day. We build their roads, we keep them safe and secure, we keep them healthy, we grow their businesses and support them, we provide economic opportunity. We are connected to them. And today is a celebration of some of Kern County's finest work and accomplishment over the past year. Every year, we do recognize our employees' success and achievement, but this year we're doing a little bit different than in past years. We're doing it at your meeting today to bring more public awareness to our employees' success, and also in coordination with National Employee Appreciation Day, which is this Friday, March 2nd. We have 5 awards to hand out to our distinguished nominees today. First, for outstanding leadership. Second, for workforce excellence. Third, for sustained effort. Fourth, for customer service excellence. And fifth, but not last, for exceptional teamwork. The votes have been tabulated, and I've been assured that unlike the Oscars last year, we have the correct winners. So without further ado, I'm going to get into each award individually. And I will allow some time for your board to comment after each recipient, if you so choose. So our first award today is for outstanding leadership. And this award is presented to the employee in the county or who advances their departments and the countywide initiatives through exemplary leadership. They demonstrate and model outstanding work ethic and attitude. They create a commitment to the pursuit of clear and compelling countywide or departmental vision, missions, and goals. They contribute understanding and knowledge of services on behalf of their department to the Board of Supervisors, county departments, other agencies, and the public. And they show fairness, equity, and a professional demeanor in the performance of their duties and inspire their employees to participate in workplace decision-making and reach their fullest potential. And routinely, they recognize others for their achievements. Our recipient of the Outstanding Leadership Award this year is Dominic Brown, the Acting Executive Director for Kern County Employees Retirement Association. And I'd like to bring Dominic up first.
We can applaud.
The other Mr. Brown, we've been confused quite a bit. I receive his emails, all sorts of things, hijinks going on between the two of us. But Mr. Brown was nominated this year for his exceptional leadership as the acting executive director of the Kern County Employees Retirement Association. Mr. Brown is credited with improving the morale at KSARA through his various initiatives. Upon assuming the role of acting executive director this past fall, Mr. Brown held individual meetings with all staff members and has made significant efforts to improve the overall communication throughout their organization. He has provided a clear vision for improvement to operations, and Mr. Brown is credited through his nomination with leading KSARA to numerous internal and external improvements. So on behalf of your board and the county, I award this Outstanding Leadership Award to Mr. Dominic Brown. And if you'd like to say a few words.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. I do have just a few brief comments. Hopefully you won't drown me out with music. It is a tremendous honor to be recognized to receive this award. I need to express my gratitude to many of the people that made this all possible, because even good leaders can't lead without the support of other leaders, and they must have a willing team to follow. When I was the county audit chief, it was my responsibility to go out into every department and evaluate not only the financial compliance, but internal controls and leadership of each department. I learned a lot about leadership from other department heads, many of which are in this room right now, which has helped me tremendously in where I am today. I'd like to thank 4 groups of people in particular. One, my staff at KSARA. I don't even know who nominated me for this award, but I'm extremely thankful to all of my staff for their support and enthusiasm through an especially challenging year. The Board of Retirement, especially Chairman Dustin Dodgen, Administrative Committee Chairman Thad Kennedy, Jordan Kaufman, and Trustee and Supervisor David Couch, as well as the rest of the trustees for their support of me and my leadership of KSARA. Board of Supervisors, so thank you for welcoming me back into these board chambers and engaging with me to understand the challenges and opportunities that the pension plan in the county have come through and those that we still face. Lastly, I'd like to thank the CAO, Ryan Alsop, Nancy Lawson, Elsa Martinez, Devin Brown, Carrie Ferris, Michael Gouard, County Council Mark Nations and his team, as well as all the others that are helping KSARA with our reorganization to address the challenges of administering the extremely large and increasingly complex pension system. Again, my sincere thanks. I'm surprised and I'm filled with gratitude to all of those who helped make this possible. Thank you.
Oh, Dominic, hold on. Dominic, hold on for just a second before you go back. I wanted to just, I've told you this privately, but I want to say it publicly. There are very, very few opportunities in life to redefine oneself. And you had a very specific role at the county as part of the auditing staff, and you executed that role the way it should have been executed. But it created a perception of you that you were kind of the taskmaster and the one holding everybody accountable, and it just, you became defined in a certain way. I want to congratulate you for embracing this rare opportunity to redefine yourself and just express yourself in a way that causes people to fall in behind you. You do have a great team, and I applaud them for their role in it, but I applaud you for taking this opportunity to really make a difference and kind of redefine yourself and your department. And I just applaud and congratulate you for that.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Hey, can I say something?
Yes, sir.
So this means no more adjustments on the rate of return?
Absolutely not.
What?
It does not.
Take that thing back from me. Good job.
Very good. Anybody else? Yes,
Very,
Supervisor.
very excited about your leadership.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, that's it. Go ahead and sit down.
Okay, the next award to present today is actually a tie, which is great because we get to give 2 awards instead of 1. It's for workforce excellence. And the criteria for this award is for the employee, or employees in this case, who enhance quality and productivity of the workforce while demonstrating enthusiasm and dedication to his or her job. They exhibit enthusiasm and dedication to the job. They are committed to seeking positive outcomes with others in the workplace. They exemplify unusual initiative or creative ability in the development and improvement of methods and procedures, resulting in substantially increased productivity and efficiency. They demonstrate dedication in performing their duties and exemplify high standards. And they also implement ways to use time and resources more effectively and efficiently, which we'll be talking about later with Lean Six Sigma. So I'm going to bring up our first recipient, who is from the Risk Management Division of the County Council. His name is Brad Aragon, and I'll give a little bit of a description, and if our Risk Manager, Matt Gutierrez, can join me up here at the podium. I almost pulled a La La Land moment there and gave him the wrong one. Here you go, Brad.
You watch the Oscars way too closely, apparently.
Well, I can assure you that Warren Beatty and Faye Dunaway are not involved in this. So Mr. Aragon was nominated for his work as the county's safety officer with risk management. He, since assuming that role in 2012, Mr. Aragon has revolutionized the position from a first aid trainer to now being the leading resource for safety and loss control in the county. Mr. Aragon has built positive and productive relationships at every county department to help build a culture of safety. He has been an instrumental in capturing data for risk management's use in identifying injury trends in order to focus on loss prevention and control. Mr. Aragon's work has helped save the county money, which we love, right? In insurance losses, and has led to lower insurance costs for department and helps county employees work safer. Congratulations, and I'll turn it over to our risk manager, Matt Gutierrez, to say a few words about Mr. Aragon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. I think this award is very well deserved. I've been at the county for a few years, and in the time that I've been working with Brad, I've come to understand him to be a very organized, very meticulous employee, and he has done a tremendous job. He's the only person in the county that does what he does. And he has demonstrated the ability to connect with all of the departments. He really has been the driving force behind creating the culture of safety with the employees that we want for the county. And Devin mentioned the other Mr. Brown. He and I have a running joke that he and I are both the risk manager. So sometimes when they talk about the risk manager, they're thinking about Brad. So it's a running joke that we have. My point is that he has been a outstanding representative of the risk management department. He is the epitome of efficiency and really just creating that culture of safety that we need, and he's an example of the kind of service that risk management wants to provide. So congratulations, Brad.
Very good.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Dominic's a tough act to follow. I don't have keys. First of all, Mr. Aragon announced that many times in one setting. It's kind of scary. I'd just like to thank Mr. Nations, Mr. Gutierrez, for providing me the opportunity and the atmosphere to let me do my job. Their confidence in me allows me to, use my style, and I think it's been productive. And also, I enjoy what I do. It's a great place to work. I get to see all the behind the scenes of the county, how things operate, and I just really enjoy it. So thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations. We view our employees as our most precious resource, and you make sure they stay safe. We're grateful for that.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the next recipient is from our Department of Human Services. Her name is Elaine Salgado. So if I could have Ms. Salgado and our Assistant Director of CPS, Antoinette Reed, join me at the podium. Okay, Ms. Salgado was nominated for her work as a Social Service Worker 5 at the Department of Human Services. She works in the Emergency Response Division of CPS and is responsible for completing investigations, assessing the safety of children, and determining potential risk and abuse. It is difficult and delicate work to discuss such serious topics as sexual abuse with children. And even while tackling these difficult issues, Ms. Salgado goes above and beyond in conducting her investigations and referrals. She is the first to volunteer to help out a coworker and always puts the safety of Kern County's children first. Ms. Salgado is an asset to the Child Protective Services Department of DHS and the children and families of Kern County. And I'll have Antoinette Reed, her division head, say something.
Hi, good afternoon. I just want to let you know, Elaine has been with our department just for 3 years, which is not a long time, but she does an excellent job with her investigations with abuse and neglect of children. But besides that, the thing that makes her outstanding is that some of these things that I'm going to tell you about are voluntary. So we don't make our employees do these things, they volunteer. She works on call, which is after hours. We ask our employees to do that. We don't make them do that, and she volunteers to do that. That's 24/7. We have to be available, and she has graciously offered her services after hours. In order to be an on-call worker, you have to be able to work independently because there is no one, being able to guide you. We answer the phone when they call, but basically she's kind of on her own after hours. She also has sat in on a CASA panel. CASA, as you know, recruits volunteers, and then they have training, and then they ask some of our employees to come and sit on a panel so that they can get real live information about what happens with our kids when they come into protective custody. She sat on a couple of panels for CASA after hours, again, on her own time. She is a training she's a training social worker in the unit that she's in. Again, that's kind of voluntary. We do kind of pick and choose who we're going to have be a training social worker, but if they say, no, we don't, I don't want to, again, we don't make them. So she volunteers to do that. She's also a MSW field instructor. Again, that's voluntary. She has her master's degree in social work. We have interns at the department who need that leadership, and she provides that to them. Aside from that, she has recently volunteered to be a forensic interviewer. That requires 5 days of training off-site. She got a scholarship to attend that training, and she's going to begin doing that forensic interview training for us too. That's a hard job because you're kind of having to pull information out of a child who's been abused or neglected. And so she's volunteered to do that. So that, on top of her being an ER investigator, is why she was nominated, and I'm very proud to know that she was selected. So thank you all for that, and hopefully she'll come up and say a few words.
I don't like public speaking, but I'll try to make this brief. I really have to say thank you to Erin Gillespie. She was an amazing supervisor, not only to myself, but everyone out on the floor. She was very supportive. She encouraged us to do our best. She always held us accountable to do great work. She was good to me and everyone else in emergency response. She provided constructive criticism, guidance, wisdom. She was just amazing. And she's now a program specialist. My job is not easy, and it is very difficult because it involves children, but I'm only one of not enough social workers in emergency response, but I work with a lot of great social workers who have helped me, whether it's answering questions, going out with me to investigate because I don't want to go out to a house alone, or accompanying me. But I work with a lot of good social workers. The job is not easy, and I have coworkers that have been doing it for 5+ years, 10+ years, and I've only been doing it 3, and I commend them because they still do it. I just want to thank everyone that I work with, and I want to say special thank you to my granny and my grandma because they are both over the age of 75, and they both work 5 days a week. So anytime I do not want to get out of bed and go to work, I just think of them and say, don't be lazy and go to work. So thank you to everyone for this.
Okay, this is the next award is a test, actually, really. It's for sustained effort, and the test is to see how many times we can honor somebody who's retiring to get them to stick around longer. So it's for sustained effort, and to qualify for this award, as the title suggests, you must have a sustained effort for recognition, nomination, or you have to meet the criteria for any one of the preceding categories or any of the 5 categories for the past 5 consecutive years or longer. There isn't a criteria that you have to have won that award, but you have to meet those criteria, and this nominee and recipient certainly does. An explanation of this category also includes examples of efforts that a recipient has made over a full sustained time period. And this person has worked for the county for 32 years, or over 32 years, as we learned this morning. So Lamar Curley from Behavioral Health Recovery Services, and Mr. Walker, his department head, I'd like to have you come to the podium. That was quick. Okay. Well, you heard about Lamar this morning and all his achievements over the years for behavioral health and the county. And we certainly are going to miss him as he retires. But that is an indication that he has had a sustained effort in his career. He is successfully retiring from the county. Mr. Curley was nominated for his longtime work at Kern Behavioral Health and Recovery Services. He has been a part of the Behavioral Health and Recovery Services team for over 30 years. He has worked across all the divisions within the department, including Forensics, Adult Services, Children's Services, and the Crisis Evaluation Center, ITS, and the Financial Division. Wow. Talk about a jack of all trades. Mr. Curley has been a leader, mentor, and champion for many people at Behavioral Health. His mentorship and encouragement has led to the successful promotion of many working under him. Somebody's probably going to take his job too, so maybe that's another promotion he's helped out with. He is known for his sense of humor, for being compassionate while also being very direct and honest, and a trusted leader. And congratulations, Mr. Curley, and Mr. Walker, his department head's going to say a few words.
So thank you, Mr. Brown, Chairman, members of the board.
it's kind of like the Lamar Curley going away show, because we had an event last Friday, and of course, staff get up and they start crying with them in health department, so we cry easy, so they're crying, and then this morning he's choking up talking about this. But I'm going to ask a question, because this is sustained effort, right?
Yes,
And work starts at 8 in the morning, right?
yes,
What time did you get here this morning?
6,
What time do you usually get here?
6.
So that's the kind of, I don't even have to say any more than that.
Right.
He gets here at 6, and I get to work, and if his car's not already there, I'm thinking, okay, is he sick? Which he never gets sick. Where is he? And then he's bopping to my office when I get there. And this is 32 years in, and his last day is Friday, and he got to work at 6 this morning. And that is just outstanding. And I've loved working with you all the time, so I got to hand you this mic and say, sustained effort.
Good afternoon, Chairman Maggard and board members. Well, thank you so much for having had the opportunity to do such fun, challenging, and interesting work. And that's what I've really had for 32 years. And the last 4 years, being able to really mentor and lead people, the new people, our succession plan managers, to be ready and capable of running our department. As you know, healthcare, mental health, funding, Medi-Cal, there are many changes in the air, and it takes a great deal of planning and preparation to be ready for that. And I'm really proud of having worked for Bill Walker. He's a great mentor, and my friend Brad Cloud. And I did mention, Brad and I have known each other since 1974, when we were in a boys' choir at West High School. And he'll be retiring this October, but we're leaving the department in good hands, and that's a really satisfying thing to realize and to know that I can go away. Although I intend actually to do volunteer papers on Friday so I can continue mentoring people, because I love my work, and I always have loved my work, and I look forward to doing more. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Lamar. We're grateful for all you've done.
Okay, then.
He plans to be retired at least as long as he worked for the county. That's good.
So the next award is for customer service excellence. And this award goes to the employee, but in this case, it's a group of employees who I'm very proud of, who provide internal or external customers with access to quality information and services. They improve the quality or delivery of those services. They respond to a customer request in an exemplary, timely, and courteous manner. They develop innovative ways of doing business that benefit customers. They go the extra mile to meet the customer's interests. They interact professionally with customers to create a positive attitude about the county or their department. And the winner of this year's Customer Service Excellence Award is our Kern Legacy Administrative Team, which is within the HR division. So I'll ask our 4 Kern Legacy staff members to come up and accept the award, but I'm going to talk a little bit about them. So I'll introduce the plan coordinator, Jocelyn Reyes, Michelle Gutierrez, Anna Carmichael, and Angie Reyes, who are Angelica Bernal. Sorry, that's another person. I do know my staff's names, promise. They are certainly, we took over the Kern Legacy Health Plan from Kern Medical when they separated to the Hospital Authority back in 2016. And we took over administration of that plan for the county and their employees. So their customers are the employees of the county and their family, and we want to provide them with excellent service, and they do. And so when we took over that plan, we hired up a staff of professionals who knew the business and could meet the expectations of our employees and your board and the county family. And these 4 ladies are certainly exemplary of customer service excellence. They've taken on every aspect of this plan, changed it, modified it to add different levels of benefit to provide our employees and their families with greater access to provider health care. They've taken on a new plan this year for a high deductible health plan. And not only do they administer the plan, but they go out to the community and do outreach with all of our healthcare providers, whether it's a doctor or a hospital provider, and make sure that they understand the plan. So that way, when the members come in with their medical issues, they don't have any questions about what kind of plan and insurance they have. They know Kern Legacy out in the community, and they know that it's a high-level plan that the county offers, and so that's what our staff does. They also handle the utilization management for the plan with our vendor clinics, and they work to make sure that procedures get authorized timely, and that our customers certainly have the best experience with their health care as possible. So I'm very grateful as the department or division head for this team to accept this award on their behalf, but I'm going to hand it over to our team leader, Jocelyn, because she really deserves it with her team. And they really are excellent at what they do, and they're making Kern Legacy Health Plan into the premier health plan for the county. It's a homegrown product, and we're proud of it, and we hope to improve it and continue to find new ways to service our employees and their family. So give the mic over to Jocelyn to say a few words if she wants to dare.
Sure. Don't want to drop it. Well, I think that what we do for the county is so important because we're servicing our own county employees and retirees. Something that we really strive on is customer service because the healthcare industry is so robotic, I feel like, in the insurance world. And the vision that we had for the plan was to give our customers more than that, to give them compassion. And I think with compassion, our plan has maintained its population. It grew from 2013 to now, and I do that all with these incredible ladies. It's been an amazing opportunity to service our own, and just with compassion, we are helping quality of life. We've had a lot of members that have touched our hearts, and just by caring, we've got them to the place where they're very sick and they've gotten better, and that's been incredible to watch, that just by caring improves health. And so overall, with us caring about our members, we're also saving the county money, so Devin's happy. But I'm fortunate enough to work with ladies that are like my sisters, so that makes this job even easier and more rewarding for us. I think they all share my vision, and I just hope to continue to grow the plan. And it's not just about our county employees, it's our vendors, it's the relationship that we have with each other. Customer service is bigger than just the customer that comes to our counter. It's everybody that we deal with. So I'm proud of this award, and thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Can I also say, Devin, to this team here
Sure.
that I think has such incredible synergy and such great, you guys really have something very special. I mean, your particular group, and I know you guys have been helpful at our blood drives that we've had. Thank you so very much. You guys just mob in like you're a real force of power, and that's beautiful. You can see the family, you can see the care and love for Kern and even strangers, you know, through the blood drive process. You guys come with passion to the blood drive, which I think is so cool. So hats off to you, and you're a family of rock stars. You guys are moving in the right directions.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Okay, I know what you're thinking. We've got rid of all the awards on this side, but now there's like these awards over here. How long is he planning on doing this for? This is for the last final award, which is our Exceptional Teamwork Award. And this award and the recipient exemplifies the county as a whole, why we're all one team despite having 30-plus departments that do anything from law enforcement to planning to animal services. We really can come together as a team and put on an event and help our community and enhance the way of life here in Kern County. And so the recipient of this award, and I won't go into too much detail about the criteria because you'll understand when you hear the recipient why they won this award. It's for our Hot Pock After Dark team. I wanted to say that, yeah. Was my Boston accent better than, no, Matt Damon? No, he's from Boston, that's right. So the departments that were involved this year are, of course, our library department under our exceptional leadership of Andy Sullivan. Our Veteran Service department under our County Veteran Services Officer leadership, Dick Taylor. Animal Services, who isn't present today because I've been told it's World Spay Day, and so they're out on the streets taking care of cats and dogs and making sure that controlling the pet population. So they're not here today, but our fire department was a part of this year's event. Department of Human Services, Public Works, General Services, the County Administrative Office, which includes the main office, general services, and HR were all a part of the team that showed up and helped put on this community event. That was a raving success this year and helped enhance the way of life in our community. So the nomination for Hart Park After Dark focused on the monumental effort by a large number of individuals across 9 county departments over a period of months to make this event a reality. With the help of an additional 7 community partners, county staff were able to hold a successful event that drew 2,000 plus attendees from the community. The event was a major success, as your board knows, with attendees providing positive feedback, requesting more events like Hart Park After Dark in the future. The event encouraged the use of our Kern County parks and highlighted the vital role our parks can play in residents' quality of life, and clearly illustrated the impact of our departments that they can have working together as a team and jointly using their resources. So I'd like to have Andy come up to the mic and say a few words, and I'll certainly give you your award, but we have one for every department that was involved in this year's event. And if I can have everybody who was participating stand up behind so that the board can see just who's here. We have over 50 employees of the county who participated in making this event a success.
I guess they're too scared to come downstairs. Good afternoon, Chairman Magger, Supervisors. I'm happy to be here to receive this award, but truly it was just an idea
Come on
I
down and
posed.
stand behind her if you want to,
Thank
okay?
you, Chairman. Yes, come on down. Thank you for rallying the troops. They can't say no to a supervisor, I guess.
Well,
Anyway, so this all started with an idea. As you guys know, I did pose this idea to Mr. Alsop, and he let me run with it. But the county is evolving, and we are trying to meet the needs of our community in different ways and different manners. And so I thought this might be a good avenue to use multiple departments and obviously multiple county staff to make this happen. So I was just the idea maker. These people behind me are the doers. So they really are the ones that deserve the round of applause for feet on the ground and making sure this was a success. So thank you so much for this award, but it's truly their award. Thank you, guys. It's okay. I think Lauren wants a picture, though. Sorry, thank you.
we thought you dropped the award there for a minute.
Oh, yes, the awards.
There you go, you can take that one.
And you get an award, and you get an award.
Feel it.
Okay, you guys. Just,
Hold the animal services.
you can hold animal services. Thank you.
You guys are fabulous, and it was a fabulous event.
You made it.
Andy, I understand that more festivals might be out there on the horizon.
You know it.
Very
Yes,
good.
yes, sir, absolutely. We're working on it right now.
Thank you. Thank you.
I think those were just mine.
And congratulations to Mr. Sullivan. You have married a 10 million watt light bulb. She shines everywhere she goes.
Well, that concludes our presentation today. We are having a reception with refreshments in the HR test room for the recipients, their families, and anybody who wants to join afterwards.
While we are here, you are having a reception.
We will save you some cookies. There's a smiley face cookie with each of your names on it.
Okay.
So, unless Eric's eating them all. But I just want to close in thanking your board for allowing us to do this presentation, and for our employees who really are the lifeblood of our county and do great things. And we'll continue to recognize them in this way and other ways and celebrate them this Friday for Employee Appreciation Day. Thank you.
Well done. Thank you.
Thank you,
Congratulations
Devin.
to our employees. Okay, now back to our normal sequence here. Well, let's go to item number 20, which is a presentation on Launch Kern, Kern County's Continuous Improvement Initiative. Would that be Mr. Alsop? Are you going to tee that up?
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, I'm going to introduce Mr. Wiebe from the CAO's office to make the presentation.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, board members. It was just 2 weeks ago in these board chambers where you guys approved an agreement with General Services Fleet and Enterprise Fleet Management, which is going to save the county initially $375,000 a year, and we hope to scale that up and save a lot more money. But Supervisor Gleason made a comment during that board meeting that kind of reminded me of a quote. He said, somebody had to ask the question, why are we in the car business? Start with that why. And it reminded me of a quote, it doesn't start until somebody does something differently, but it doesn't stick until nearly everybody is doing something differently. So what I want to kind of talk about are some of the deployment models or methods we're using to make sure it sticks and we're getting through to people. First of all, we're on pace to provide nearly 1,000 employees with introductory training by the end of 2018. Our initial thought was that if even 20% or 200 of those come up with a quick win project idea at $5,000 to $10,000 each, that would be $1 million to $2 million. As you'll hear shortly from Ms. Ruiz from our office, we're doing very well in that regard. Secondly, we've scheduled Greenbelt training. These are project facilitators in larger complex projects this April, and they're in the process of scoping out projects to identify what they want to do for their project, but we're looking at different areas related to quality of life issues, libraries, parks, AB 109 and criminal justice reform, as well as some of those larger impact areas that could save money in HR, legal services, ITS. And of course, we welcome your board's input related to functional areas that you think we ought to scope out and investigate. Thirdly, we created an infrastructure. I think Supervisor Gleason once again mentioned at our last update in October, what are we doing to track and make sure all departments are on board. So what we've done is created kind of an infrastructure. Each department, all departments are on board, all departments are participating, and they've identified a deployment leader. This is a liaison, a link between our office and their department to communicate successes, to help with resources and support on projects, as well as track projects and measure projects, measure results. Lastly, we're communicating and publishing our results on a website, launchkern.com, which is accessible through kerncounty.com, our main website portal, where we update our results, update projects, featured projects, a couple of which you'll hear today, and really communicate and be transparent about what we're doing to the public, as well as resources for staff. So that's kind of the deployment model that we think is going along well, is successful so far. We're starting to see some good results. Where I'll turn it over to Ms. Ruiz from the Launch Kern team to kind of talk about our overall results so far. And subsequent to her presentation, we'll have a couple specific projects from Public Works and General Services talking about what they've done. So, Ms. Ruiz.
Good afternoon, Chairman Maggard, members of the board. So last October, we provided an update where we highlighted 4 projects. So now we can say that we have 23 projects. If you look at your screen, you'll see we have updated our Launch Kern website, where you'll see we'll continue to update this, but as of right now, we have 23 total projects. You'll see the total amount saved, which is, yes, $3.1 million, which we'll go into in just a second. And as of tomorrow, we will have 417 employees trained, at least in the introductory training of Lean Six Sigma. If you go below, you will also see 4 featured projects to highlight the remarkable projects. And so one of those is the fleet management, which we heard 2 weeks ago. Another one is the, if I can scroll, is the tax bill redesign by the Treasurer Tax Collector. Last time we presented the estimated savings, and now we can say it's $124,000 in savings from that redesign. The 2 other projects, in a minute, we will hear from Public Works and General Services on their projects. If I go to the projects page, you'll see, hopefully, let me see. Well, you're supposed to see all the service areas, and there's all 23 projects will be listed here. You'll see that there are projects that are in progress. For those that are completed, there will be a link where you can actually click and see the entire storyboard, see what the problem was, the solution, and the total results saved from that, which all should equal to that $3.1 million. As you can see, we have many projects that are completed in all service areas, which means all our departments are engaged and involved, which is significantly different from where we were back in October. Excuse. Now we have set our sights on how do we reward our employees for these projects and reward our departments, and we're looking at doing either an awards luncheon or an awards ceremony similar to the Employee Recognition Awards, so that we can continue to incentivize our employees on completing these projects and remaining engaged. I also want to take a minute to just thank our departments for staying with us and working diligently on these projects. And although the fruits of our labor aren't immediate sometimes, but they've done a great job. And also thanking Carmina Morales from our staff for doing such a great job with this website and working hard and making sure that we keep track of all our results for all of the departments. Now we'll be hearing about our featured projects from Public Works and General Services, and first up is Nancy Ewert.
Mr. Chairman, I'll go ahead and give an introduction. Craig Pope, Public Works Director. Lean Six Sigma is a wonderful tool for Public Works. Not only do we have countless processes that could always be improved on, but ever since we merged multiple departments together, we've had a lot of processes that crossed each other, and we're trying to always fine-tune them, always looking for ways of improving. So with that, we're going to turn over to Nancy Ewert, our Assistant Director of Operations, and let her go into the details of a couple of little projects that we did as a kickoff, the kind of the low-hanging fruit.
Good afternoon, Chairman Maggart, members of the board. The first project that we're talking about today is the improved cardboard recycling. The categories for improvement were reduced transportation, reduced processing, and better utilization of staff. As a problem statement, loading and hauling loose cardboard for recycling is inefficient, resource intensive, and contributes to contamination. Hauling loose cardboard costs the department over $200 per ton to transport. We also receive reduced revenue for that same cardboard, $20 less than if that cardboard is consolidated and baled. And it also increases the contamination, which directly relates to the market value. Hauling baled cardboard, the cardboard is then hauled by a broker. The department no longer has to haul cardboard in roll-off containers. We also receive increased revenue of $20 per ton when our bales are over 1,000 pounds each. Balers, however, cost $35,000 each. So the project cost of what we're proposing and what we're moving forward with is 4 balers at $35,000 apiece for $140,000 total. The project savings in 1 year for hauling and revenue is $191,500 per year, and the project payout is within 10 months. The original process, you'll see I refer to OCC, that's old corrugated cardboard, and that's the industry term for cardboard. So cardboard comes in for recycling. We actually have to use staff or work release to flatten those boxes out. People just deposit boxes that are, whole. The flattened cardboard is stored in roll-offs and is hauled to the recycler. The recycler then bales the cardboard, and then it is hauled to market. In the improved process, again, the cardboard comes in, but the boxes do not have to be broken down. They're basically put into the baler, which crushes the board, crushes the boxes. The bales then are about 1,600 pounds per bale, and they are stored in a sea train until a broker comes and picks them up basically in a large truck and hauls it to the market. So by this process, we are eliminating 2 unnecessary steps of hauling cardboard directly to a recycler simply for baling. The project team involved people in permitting, people in operations, and it was a very good and joined effort. We started this process because we originally got a grant for a small baler at our special waste facility. We saw such great improvements that we are now proposing at our larger landfills and transfer stations to place 4 balers. Our second process is gatehouse cash processing and distribution. So our problem statement is, since 1993, department staff have served as couriers to supply cash to landfill gatehouses. We have 12 gatehouses at 10 different sites, and our couriers are carrying upwards of $10,000 basically in a county vehicle, unsecured. This requires 61 staff hours per week. The unsecured cash delivery, again, is delivered by county staff. There is a significant risk, as you can imagine, of having an unsecured courier moving cash throughout the county. It also reduces the supervision of staff basically overseeing the gatehouses themselves. It reduces training, and it increases travel cost. Basically using secured cash delivery, we have a bonded cash delivery service. The cost to the county is 0. Basically, the float on the money for the short-term deposit is what pays for that service. So we pay nothing for this service. It hugely reduces the risk. I think that's the most important aspect of this process improvement. It reduces county vehicle use, and we basically had an existing county agreement. So the project cost of this is 0. The project savings per year is $108,900, and the project payout is instantaneous. The original process basically had accounting staff putting together cash bags that were then delivered throughout the county. They picked up cash, and then the couriers, our department couriers, were also depositing that money into a bank. The improved process takes it out of county hands at no cost. Brinks provides every single service, and the reason that this is so effective is, for instance, our Ridgecrest, Mojave, Boron landfills are serviced out of the Lancaster area. And when Brinks goes and services those areas, they're picking up 40 or 50 accounts all at one time, all on one trip, and they have the security to do so. All of our Valley sites are supported out of the Bakersfield office. So this has been a great improvement, a great savings, and most importantly, greatly reduces the risk. Again, the project team consisted of our gatehouse supervisors, accounting staff, and accounting management.
Mr. Chairman, this is just a start. We see a great deal of opportunity for this within Public Works.
Wow, good stories.
Our final presentation will be from General Services Carol Cox related to price agreements.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Chairman, board members. I'm excited to share a little bit of time with you for a minute or two and talk to you a little bit about our price agreement management and cost reduction savings. I made copies for all of you because it was easier to see than on the overhead. All right, so the problem that I was tasked with was, by request of the CAO, purchasing has been negotiating for immediate cost savings with the current vendors of our 265 term price agreements that we have due to the fiscal challenges the county is enduring. So my approach on this was, one, we decided that we'd modify, we have an extension letter that we do when contracts are at the end of their service period. And so we're doing a two-prong approach. As they come to an end of the service period, we're asking and talking to vendors about and describing the fiscal crisis that the county is in and asking for opportunities for savings to work with them. So digging down a little bit in exactly what we're doing with that, we are asking that if we could extend contracts for 1 to 2 years for a total, normally our contracts are between 3 to 5 years, that will take them as much as 7 years. That would then defray an opportunity to conduct further competitive bidding, but it would in exchange for a reduction in cost and savings. And this is where the excitement of the whole project gets going. So we worked with vendors and we started talking with them a little bit about customized savings that we could do. So there's generally about 3 areas. So first, there could be a reduction of the current costs for products and services. So they could ask their supplier to help. There might be a use of early pay discount to reduce invoice costs. What happens is the departments are able to obtain a discount off of paying their bills timely and get 2 or 3% off, which is what I call, just like other people say, as low-hanging fruit. And the third way that we can customize savings is by modification of an agreement review. So looking at the products and services. So let me tell you a little couple stories just to kind of make those make a little bit more sense. So when we started this, one of our local vendors that I spoke with, he had said to me, he goes, you know what, Carol, I'm going to contact my supplier. I'm going to contact HP because the county buys a lot of ink and toner cartridges. And he said, let me see what they will do. So what happened was I ended up on the phone with HP, and they offered the county the opportunity to become what's called a C contract cartridge purchaser. And that reduces the cost of the actual cartridges that we're buying, $166,000 each year. Because we know exactly what we're buying, so obviously we can calculate out what the cost savings was. So I said to the guy, he asked me, he goes, Carol, do you want to buy HP cartridges? Yes, the county would like to buy HP cartridges. You know, that was it. And the light went off, and I'm like, you know what? I need to get our other vendors to look to their suppliers. And it was a really, really good lesson. So what happened is we got a lot of responses. And I want to tell you something. We had 20 local vendors provide us with $1.88 million in savings. Now, how the heck does that happen? So they went to many of their suppliers to ask for special considerations for the county after they read our letter. And I was first a little bit embarrassed. I was like, really? They read my letter? You know, but the point is we're just an honest, caring county. We're trying to do what it is that we can do, and we're in a fiscal crisis, and we need a little bit of help. And it's not like forever, it's not 10 years, but you know, it's a little bit of help. And we got such a fabulous response. It's been very, very heartening and very, very exciting. And I mean, I could take another 10 minutes and tell you all the stories, but the excitement for me to report to you is our local vendors care. I had so many local vendors. One local vendor said to me, he goes, Carol, the county has been so good to my particular company. He owns a large company here locally. And he says, I want to give back. Another vendor said, said to me, he says, look it's just something that we can do. Another vendor, and this you will see in this building. Okay, so another vendor takes a look. He looks at all of the janitorial stuff that the county buys, and he looked at our usage reports for us. So he went in there and he said, he called Georgia Pacific, and he said, I need to help the county. So Georgia Pacific said, okay, you know those paper towel holders in your restrooms? He goes, tell you what, we'll go in and we'll pull them out and put new ones in. And if you guys will buy a less expensive paper towel, all right, that will save us $10,000 a year. We got an idea. So we did it, and we're going for it. So the thing of it is it's all about communication. It's all about our ability to work with our vendors, and I just really, really want to underline how exciting it is to have our local vendors as partners. And these are people I've known a long time over the years, and it's a great relationship that we have with them. And it's mutually profitable, and it's a teamwork kind of deal. So we all do for things together. It is, it's very excited, and you know, we've got some more things. I've got other things on the horizon that, you know, that 2.1 million and growing is what we have saved thus far over the last 6 months. Now, it'll be spread by over 3 years, all right, but it's gonna work for us, and I expect big things in the next little bit as we continue on.
Fabulous stories. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you.
Congratulations. Yes, Supervisor Gleason.
Just a quick question, Cal.
Sure.
Thank yous. Do we send thank yous out to all our vendors?
Yes, we do handwritten
Thank you.
notes.
Wow.
All right, thank you.
You want to say
All
something?
right.
So how can you top this? I'm sorry, Supervisor Scribner, did I get you off? No, you go ahead. Sorry.
I didn't punch in. I was just sitting here saying, fantastic. Carol, that's marvelous. What a great story, and being able to leverage those relationships. You know, relationships are everything in life, but for you to do what you did on behalf of the county, on behalf of the taxpayer, just thank you. Thank you so very much. And then also, Mr. Pope and Ms. Ewert for your efforts. Your presentation, we didn't get to say much after you presented, but really do appreciate what you did on behalf of the ratepayers, because that's going to mean less cost for everybody's trash service down the line, because you're saving money there. So that's the impact. So thank you all so much. All of our employees that are doing such a great job for us, that are embracing our innovation, our Lean Six Sigma. Thank you all so much. We're getting a lot of great momentum here, and it just continues to build. And so we're excited about it. I want you to know how much we appreciate it up here. Thank you.
Sure, Supervisor Gleason.
Thank you. Wow, I am so impressed, I can't tell you. Mike, is that you up there? Yeah. Bill, could you come down here for a second, please? Or come down to introduce yourself, and I'd like to hear your thoughts on what you're hearing today about our Launch Kern program.
Yeah, for those who do not know me, my name is Michael Way. I'm on the standing committee with Jason that John Pryor originally put together. I'm a professor at CSUB with the School of Business, director of the MBA program, and one of my areas covers Lean Six Sigma. So I'm making David, what we've been doing. These are good examples of what we're doing. The initial presentations we saw with the flow charts, the steps that have been eliminated, that's really the heart of Lean. I think a lot of people, when they first hear Lean Six Sigma, they get a little afraid. You hear the word lean, you think that means cutting resources. And what it really means is cutting out unnecessary steps. It's cutting the fat from the process, not in terms of cutting budgets, cutting people, cutting equipment, or anything like that. And so when you see that, we had these steps, and they were very macro steps the way you laid those out. I'm sure there's a lot more stages in each of those little arrows they had up there. And if you were to map out the entire process flow for the cardboard recycling, for example, and see all the stages that have been eliminated, you're probably going to see an awful lot of stuff. You go, wow, look at all the steps that our people had to do, and now they don't have to do them. And so, of course, now their time is freed up to do something else. We always wish we had more people. Well, now we've got, what we really need is more time for the people we have. And so, I thought they were very interesting. It's a good start. The low-hanging fruit, as you said, but more and more there's going, I'm sorry, people hear me as I keep turning my head?
You're doing fine.
Okay. As time goes on, you're going to get more and more people trained in this. People will see the benefits of it. Nothing breeds success like success. And the great advantage of things like Lean Six Sigma is it's not an outside consultant coming in and imposing a solution on or recommending a solution. It's something that comes up organically from underneath, and therefore it has legitimacy, it has buy-in. People see the things that they probably themselves recognize. They have the content knowledge of their jobs, and they look at that and say, why are we doing it this way? And when you get fully involved in the process, get fully trained, what you have is that specialized knowledge that allows you to improve the. You look at it and people will say, I'm rambling here, why did we not do this sort of thing before? Well, you have your regular job to do, and of course, what happens with this is you've never really been trained in the idea of process improvement. And that's really what Lean Six Sigma is bringing in specific training on how to look at a process, what elements to look for and say, wait a minute, why are we doing this? How can we do this better? There's very systematic tools, and the people themselves look at it. They're now trained in how to improve a process, and they start seeing things that they've never seen before. And I'm seeing a lot of nodding over there, and you start doing the hand on the head hitting thing. Wow, why are we doing it this way? So, yeah, my take is it's off to a good start, and I think those were great stories. So,
Thank you, sir. I got a couple other questions for you.
Fire away.
Real quick. I had a couple thoughts as I was hearing the project, the discussion, and I was going to offer my thoughts, but I thought as an expert on Lean Six Sigma, it'd be a lot better coming from you than me. I would like to hear your comments on three things. One is the rewards program that we're trying to establish and what we want to move forward on, and how we could best reward the people that come up with these ideas. The second one is I didn't hear any I don't know how to properly define, nor did I hear any comments about customer satisfaction. I heard a lot about projects and dollars saved, but the real goal of Lean Six Sigma is customer satisfaction, and you might have a thought about how do we map projects and dollars saved to customer satisfaction. So rewards project, customer satisfaction. And the last thing is, when Carol spoke, I'm seeing empowerment. When Justin spoke, I see and feel the empowerment these people have. And could you talk about those three things quickly? Empowerment, customer satisfaction, and rewards project.
Okay, let me do them actually in reverse order. Okay. So the empowerment, as we said, one of the great advantages of Lean Six is it's coming from the people themselves. It's not being imposed on high. It's not a top-down solution. It's not an outside solution. It's an inside solution. People are taking ownership of the process themselves, taking responsibility for it, and that in itself makes the job, I think, a lot more pleasant, does it not? When you feel this, certainly no one wants to do something where they look at it and say, well, half of my job is just a waste. I'm getting paid to do something that really is not necessary. We find stages and steps that aren't necessary and eliminate them. That in itself is, they have, as you said, empowered, they have ownership over the process. Okay, so that's its power of Lean Six. Second point, let me see.
Customer satisfaction.
Customer satisfaction. That's not all there is to it. I mean, you're right, that's good when we can do this, but there's a lot of processes the county does that are purely internal. From my standpoint, I drop off cardboard for recycling, or whatever cardboard is being done for recycling, and whatever happens after that, I don't know. All I know is it goes off and it gets done. So I don't think there's a problem with a project like that may not directly impact me from a customer service standpoint as a person who lives in the county. It's internal. It's still something that has to be done, and we found a way to save a lot of steps and save money. And from my standpoint, the number one thing is the county budget gets in a much better situation. Yes, to the extent that we can free up resources when there's something that involves actual customer service. How long does it take? Here's an example. I submit a request, a form, something needs to be processed. How long does it take to get a response? That's a big thing. What's the response time? You see businesses all the time with this sort of thing. I face this at CSUB. People apply to the university, and it takes a surprising amount of time for the paperwork to work its way down to me before I can look at it and say, yes, I'm going to admit this person to the MBA program, or no, I'm not going to. I'd like to really shrink that time frame an awful lot. So that's an area of customer support, customer service that I think is a big part of that. As we eliminate steps, you get faster response times. But I wouldn't be too worried about it from that standpoint, as long as the processes are being trimmed, money is saved. If it's purely internal, that still benefits me as well. Okay.
And your last point was rewards, brother.
Yeah. So then the reward system. Obviously, a big thing is, and this is not my area of expertise, people want to be recognized. People want to know they're doing a good job. So, I mean, the things we just did earlier today, I think is a big part of that. Beyond that, any incentive system, any reward system you have, you must make certain that it pushes people towards the outcome you're trying to chase. There's countless examples I've seen of industries, of government, where they are given an outcome, they're given an incentive to achieve something, and it induces behavior that they didn't necessarily want. Okay, so you really have to be careful with that. Probably a big thing, whatever you do, do not impose quotas of any type. As soon as you have a quota, quality is the first thing that goes out the window. Okay, people will push to meet the quota, and if they have to cut quality, cut corners, do something that way to do that, they will do so. Okay, so be careful with that. But certainly, whatever rewards that you want to push towards people, I don't, again, that's not my particular area. Obviously, recognition, people want to know they're doing a good job. And I don't think it hurts in any way whatsoever to have something a little more tangible, perhaps.
Thank you, sir.
Going people's way. Okay.
Appreciate it, Doctor. Thank you for being
You're
here.
welcome. All right.
Thank you for helping us launch Kern.
No
Right,
problem.
Thank you very much.
All right, Jason.
Mr. Chairman, I'm done. I'm just so thrilled and happy and satisfied, and I brag about the enterprise efficient thing all the time up in Ridgecrest. They all know your name personally, so good job on everything we do. Thank you all for participating.
It is off to a great start, so we are thrilled with that. Thank you. Congratulations. Is there anything else, Mr. Wiebe, that you'd like to say, or Ms. Rees?
Romeo Agbalog is also here. He's part of the standing committee as part of the infrastructure I talked about to help build this deployment. The standing committee's been critical in that, and so I'd like to recognize Romeo, and I think he has a few words to say.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Romeo Agbalog, representing Kern Citizens for Sustainable Government and also member of the committee. Just wanted to take this opportunity to congratulate the County of Kern and all of its departments for its participation in Lean Six Sigma. I think it's very exciting to learn about the wonderful things that each department is doing, specifically these presentations that you heard this afternoon, all very exciting. Certainly the County of Kern, like many jurisdictions throughout the state, are struggling economically, but it's really refreshing to see that you've embraced this concept and that you're being judicious with taxpayer resources, you're empowering your employees, you're improving the business of the organization, and you're increasing the quality of service to the public. And for those reasons, just want to say thank you, congratulations, and we look forward to hearing more success in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Romeo. Okay. We've celebrated a lot this afternoon. A lot to celebrate. Thank you. Item number 21, Mr. Alsop, is a proposed resolution authorizing the county administrative office to submit a hazard mitigation grant application.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. I am happy to read this. I would have Mr. Christensen here, but he was unable to be here today, so I'm going to handle this item on his behalf. This is an item to approve a resolution authorizing, am I doing the right one, the water? No, you threw me off. Sorry, I got thrown out there for a second. This item is to approve a resolution authorizing county staff to prepare an application for grant funding from the Governor's Office of Emergency Services for the state of California, or CalOES, under the Hazard Mitigation Grant Program for $15 million. Willow Springs Water Bank approached Kern County with an opportunity to apply for grant funds through CalOES for drought mitigation that would benefit the Rosamond area of Kern County. If funded, the grant would construct improvements to enhance water storage in Kern County and recharge local aquifers. The improvements would assist reducing the effects of drought by storing water in Kern County in wet years for use in dry years. It's conjunctive use. Willow Springs Water Bank provides water from its bank to the Rosamond Community Services District, as well as banking water in and around the area when it becomes available. The grant funding through CalOES is traditional funding that comes from FEMA and provides assistance to those impacted by the recent floods, fires, mudslides throughout California in 2017 and 2018. A portion of the FEMA funds are used for prevention efforts to mitigate the effects of drought. These drought mitigation grant funds are what Kern County is proposing to access on behalf of Willow Springs Water Bank to address the risks of water shortages in Kern County. Willow Springs Water Bank would be a sub-recipient, so the grant funds would pass through from Kern County to that agency. Soft costs for the project, such as design, environmental review, and permits, is $3 million. The remaining $12 million would be dedicated for construction of water bank improvements and piping. As a condition of the grant, Willow Springs Water Bank commits to perform all administrative work related to the application, including ongoing grant reporting and compliance. Willow Springs also commits to provide the 25% local match of $5 million, which is required for the grant to be approved. Willow Springs will indemnify Kern County for any and all claims related to application, administration, compliance, design, and construction associated with the water bank improvements. Approving a resolution is the first step in the application. Next month, county staff will bring back the legal and grant documents for your board's consideration to complete the grant application. Mark Bueller, who I remember from his and my NWD days in Los Angeles, is the general manager of the Willow Springs Water District, and he is here in attendance with us to answer any questions you might have on this item. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Alsop. Are there any members of the public that would like to make comment about this before we hear any more testimony? Don't see anyone. Do you have any questions before we hear from him? Sir, could you please give us your name for the record, and we'll look forward to what you have to say.
Yeah, I'm Mark Bueller. I'm the general manager of the Willow Springs Water Bank and former Metropolitan employee, along with Ryan. I don't really have a presentation. I just wanted to be here to answer questions. I did want to make one comment first, though. The state approached us about utilizing some of this FEMA money. What happens is 20% of FEMA money that comes into the state can be used for whatever the state wants to address future hazards. And we were, of course, very enthusiastic. And we originally started working with a different public entity who also has a local hazard mitigation grant plan. And about halfway through the process, it just wasn't working. We kept bumping into reasons why it couldn't be done. We then changed and approached Kern County on it, and it was night and day difference. The difference was how can we help, as opposed to finding ways that it wouldn't work. So we very much appreciate the input.
Thank you, Mr. Bueller. Okay, colleagues, do we have any questions or comments? Mr. Scribner.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Bueller, it's good to see you, and thank you for making the trip over to be here. I just basically wanted to, first of all, say I'm excited about this opportunity for the Rosamond area. I think that this is going to potentially, if we're able to secure the grant, this can go a long way in helping to stabilize and enhance the water supply in that community. And that's a big issue out there for us, especially in light of the adjudication that just occurred. But special thanks, though, to Kern County staff, because this was an item that had a very tight timeline for us to analyze. And everyone in the county family came together and put in the due diligence. And so Mr. Christensen's not here, but I know he did a lot of work on this, as well as Lorelei Oviatt, our planning director, Craig Pope, and Mr. Fenton with our public works, and our legal staff, Mr. Nations, Phil Hall, General Services, just a lot of folks that came together to help make this happen for you, because I think when you came to us, you said we've got about 2 weeks in order to do this. So it was something along those lines. And so I think that, and Supervisor Gleason, I know he had a meeting with you, and then I did, and we brought everybody together. And so I just really appreciate the way in which you describe the difference between us and other agencies. It is night and day in Kern County. We find ways to get things done for our communities, and so I appreciate you pointing that out, but I also wanted to highlight that. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I look forward to a great outcome for us, and I will make a motion to approve and adopt the resolution. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor.
Second.
Supervisor Gleason.
Thanks, Mr. Beal. Appreciate you being here. I want to echo what Supervisor Scrivens just said. It was a pleasure meeting you. It was a pressure conversation, and I'm glad we got it all done. It wouldn't have been done without some great staff and some great work. Most people know exactly who I'm talking about. Thank you very much. This is to the benefit of Rosamond and Eastern Kern. In many ways, it could help us in down the road. So thanks. I'm looking forward to working with you.
Thank you.
And if it hasn't been seconded, I'll second it.
And if I missed any county department head or anybody who worked on this, I apologize, but I just quickly jotted that down. So for everyone who worked on this, thank you all so much.
Very good. Any other comments? We have a motion and a second to approve and authorize, or adopt the resolution, rather. So please cast your votes.
The motion is approved. All ayes.
Thank you very much. Let's move on to item number 27, which was removed by the department from the consent agenda today. It's a change order number 7 for the AB 900 Kern County Justice Facility Project. Mr. Hill?
Good afternoon, Chairman Maggard and members of the board. In kind of the vein of the other items today, this is a great day for Kern County and for the Sheriff's Department. Before you is the final change order for the Kern County Justice Facility AB 900 project. This will be the final change order, and will begin the process of the audit and all of the other closeout of the project. You'll recall this project was a design-build project. Design-build was selected because of its potential and the reality of it minimizing risk for cost overruns. This project has been a great example of that risk mitigation. The total project change orders were below our anticipated budget, and the project as a whole is coming in within budget and within time frame. And that's a budget that was established 7 years ago. It's a great testament to the teamwork of the project that we were able to come in within budget. I just want to recognize some partners. Kitchell DLR, we're our construction management and bridging architectural firm. Balfour Beatty and HOK, we're our construction design builder and final architect. Sheriff's staff, whose efforts throughout the course of the project, going back to the original needs assessment 11 years ago, were pivotal in the success of the project. And they are Lieutenant Earl Barnes and Lieutenant David Reynolds, Commander Tim Posey, Chief Castaneda, and the sheriff, along with Yvonne Rodriguez. CAO General Services staff, Katie Watkins, Elsa Martinez, and Iris Haley as well. County Counsel and Special Counsel helped immeasurably in terms of drafting the documents and getting us to the numerous start lines that we had to achieve. A couple of highlights. There are many to talk about, but I'll only bring up a couple. One of the goals that Balfour Beatty set back in December of 2015 was a local participation goal. And Supervisor Perez, you'll remember a specific conversation that we had, as well as with the contractor, about local participation and making sure that money stayed locally. I'm happy to report that the goal of 25% local labor and 35% materials and equipment were achieved for a total spend locally of $30,830,000. That is a tremendous effort by Balfour Beatty. Total total local spend is 29.4% of the project, which is tremendous. Additionally, savings by design was brought into the project, and that is a collaboration with PG&E to identify areas of improvement that could enhance the energy efficiency of the project. These items that were focused on were envelope, in other words, windows and insulation, exterior insulation materials, HVAC and lighting upgrades. These improvements represented a reduction in electrical usage from our original design by almost 32%. This ongoing energy savings will be about $180,000 a year. That number's flexible depending upon how energy rates go up or down. It also is resulting in a direct rebate from PG&E of $150,000. These are all really great things that came out of the project and address just a couple of the focuses that were important at the beginning. And then finally, with the project team's concurrence, tomorrow I'll be filling out the notice of completion of the project, which signifies the end of the contract with Balfour Beatty. There will still be some final work to do, but for the most part, we're done with the project. We'll also begin ticking the clock of actually moving in and using the facilities. I think we have 90 days for that. The dedication ceremony is being scheduled, and the sheriff and project team look forward to seeing you all there. That concludes my comments, and I think your sheriff, Youngblood, has some comments as well.
Good afternoon, Sheriff.
Good afternoon, Sheriff Donnie Youngblood. Thank you for the opportunity. First of all, Jeff Hill was part of that team and did a tremendous job for the last 10 years. This AB 900 was signed in May of '07. He and my staff from the very beginning did an enormous amount of work just to get awarded the $100 million amount of money to offset for the county, which is an enormous project. Chief Deputy Shelley Castaneda and her staff did a great job throughout this entire process. Make no mistake about it, the star of this show is sitting back here, Lieutenant Earl Barnes. He took this project on his own and didn't have to. It's easy to be a lieutenant in the correctional system and not do what he has done. He committed to this, he was dedicated to this, and he took an enormous amount of work off my shoulders and off the chief's shoulders and the undersheriff. And so Earl, I want to make sure that we recognize him. There's no trophy. He doesn't get a trophy, but maybe we can find one for him. He should. This adds approximately 800 beds to our jail facility, but more importantly, it's not just more beds that we built. It's better beds. It's beds that will allow better mental and medical treatment while inmates are in custody. It allows us to help those people who have mental health issues while they're in custody. We know that's a large amount of people. To service them, and hopefully when they're released, we hand them off to mental health, and it's a smooth transition. The relationship between mental health and the sheriff's office has improved dramatically in the last several years, and I think that we really are helping people. And lastly, it allows us programming space. As you know, 11 years plus ago when I became the sheriff, there were really minimal amounts of programming in the organization, and it was thrust upon us with realignment, and we embraced it. And I think we're having such a positive impact with some of our people that are in custody that when they get out, they're not coming back. And if you've never been to one of the graduations of like the RSAT program, it's very uplifting to hear class speakers of people that are in custody and being people that agreed to stay in custody longer so that they could finish the program. I think that speaks volumes. And each and every one of those class speakers stands up, and their number one priority was not to let the deputies down. That's awesome. So thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff. Supervisor Perez.
Thank you. Donnie, I have a question for you, Sheriff. One of your incredible public servants within your world made a presentation here recently. I don't want to mispronounce his rank, so forgive me. But he indicated that a number of the mental health folks in jail that traditionally go to Patton, that we're going to keep them here and I think provide a more cost-efficient services for these folks. Will they be in this new facility, Donnie?
Well, I'm not sure where they're going to be. Earl's here, and he could probably tell you where they're going to be housed. But that is a pilot program that the governor handpicked Kern County to handle, and then they pay a lot of money for us to house those inmates until they can get a bed. And we're just now entering that phase of that project. But I think it's going to be very successful. I think you'll see more of it because we have a lot of people that are in our facilities that ought to be in a mental health facility, not into a jail. And the least number that we have of those people, the less disruptive our facility is, and the more secure it is.
It's safer for your deputies
It
as
is.
well, obviously. Well, I'll tell you, I still stay in touch with a number of clients that I've worked with in the past when I was a public defender, and I have seen a real shift in tone about the programs that are being offered there. Many of them are recipients themselves, and a real rapport with deputies that I didn't hear a lot about before, frankly. And there was a more, I think, there are more siloed populations. And I feel a real synergy there with your folks. So I just really am so grateful. I think it's where we should be. I think it is public safety oriented to get people in their best environment for treatment. So I'm really thrilled about it. Very thrilled.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Thank you. Congratulations.
Thanks.
And to Lieutenant Barnes. Okay, the recommended action is to, I need to ask the public. Does the public have any comment to make about this item? Thank you. Then the recommended action is for us to approve and authorize the chairman to sign.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Barely got a second there, Jeff. Please cast your votes.
Motion is approved, all ayes.
On time and on budget. That is good news. Congratulations, everyone. That concludes our activities this afternoon on our agenda. We will next reconvene 2 weeks from today, and we'll see you here at 9 o'clock that morning. Thank you very much. Is there a motion that we adjourn?
So moved.
Thank you very much. Without objection, so ordered.